just wasn't focused on football for a minute?
I went to a travel baseball tournament for 6 days in Mississippi. I went to the Bahamas for 4 or 5 days, and then we did a brief lake house stay with all my immediate family.
Oh, very nice.
It's good.
When we were talking with Brock and Sedrick, they told us that they had a team meeting kind of talking about some of the off-field issues that were going on, and Sedrick felt it was very important for him to speak up about how maybe they let the university down. What did it mean to you to see the players get up and feel like they need to speak on the team's behalf?
I think peer leadership and peer pressure is important. I think Sedrick's very passionate about the University of Georgia. That's why he chose to come back. I mean, he's reached out to me several times about he wants to make every player have to learn the fight song, and he takes so much pride in the place that I think the representation he wants the team to have is the reflection that he wants to have himself. And Sedrick takes a lot of pride in that, so that doesn't surprise me at all.
Were you included in that meeting at all, or was that totally on the players?
I might have been. I might have been in the meeting and left. But I think it's a lot more important that players have meetings on their own than initiate them by me, because they just mean more when they do it.
A lot of you guys have talked today about the All Blacks and the inspiration behind that. Where did that come from in trying to study them this offseason? Well,
it's an outside source we use, and they come up with a lot of different ideas, and they help with the curriculum with which we study things in the off season, and I thought that was a really good fit, considering the success and the sustained success they've had. We'd like to emulate that, and the only way you can emulate somebody is to study them. And so we did a deep dive, 6 weeks into it, one kind of mantra per week, and learned about them.
Obviously, you're going to have a new starting quarterback this year. What are you looking for in that individual when you do name him QB1?
Decision maker. I want to have a good decision maker.
Is that part of the reason why we didn't bring a QB today, is because that would kind of say who you were picking?
No, we didn't bring one today because it didn't fit the profile for the leadership role we wanted. I mean, we feel like we've got 3 guys that are really strong leaders, and that position's not completely clear yet.
One of the mantras the guys keep telling us today is the better never rest. Is that one of the many mantras that you've given them from the All Blacks? And why
that was the All Blacks mantra that one of the ones we studied, and we feel like that's really fitting, because better never rests, and we want to continue to work and progress ourselves and stomp out complacency and as they say, sweep the sheds. You know, no job is too big for anyone when everybody's willing to sweep the shed.
When you talk about sustained success, obviously national championships is successful, but how else do you define it with a program?
I think graduation. I think community service. I think decision making on and off the field. What kind of opportunities are we providing our student athletes when they leave and they go out into the real world? Because they're not all going to be able to play in the NFL. So success can be defined in a lot of ways, and we try not to define it just on outcomes.
Going back to talking about Sedrick taking accountability and bringing some players together, how impressed have you been with that group of individuals to bring guys together in the offseason?
We got an incredible group. I mean, I think we're seeing the benefits of our investment from the previous 3 years. Like, we put a lot of time into these sessions that we do in the off season, and like I hold the coaches accountable because they lead them, and nobody's going to enjoy the session unless the coach has bought into it and he teaches it and he uses it like he does his offensive play or his defensive play. So the investment of our staff into that program and return on investment, we're starting to realize now, because first year we won the national championship, we'd only done it once. Now we've done it 3 times. So if you're a junior or a senior, you've been through that kind of rigorous meeting schedule 3 times, and you know each other better. So I think we're a more connected team because of the progress we've made over 3 years.
What do you expect from Kamari in terms of a leadership standpoint this year?
Just what he gives us. A competitor every day. He holds people accountable. Those things I talked about in the big room about the cost of leadership. The cost of leadership is you might not be well liked. The cost of leadership is you might hurt somebody's feeling. You might not be well thought of. Those are costs that Kamari threw out the door when he became a football player at Georgia. He doesn't worry about those costs.
Just a personal question really quickly. You talked about being a baseball dad this summer. How do you separate coach from dad in those moments?
Oh, it's hard. You can ask my son. He's wore out from me. So some overcoaching moments, and all you need to do is go to one travel baseball tournament, and you'll learn really quick what not to do, because there's a lot of that going on. And all I have to do is watch other people and say, I can't be that.
Has this been maybe one of the more challenging off seasons for you, trying to balance kind of what's been going on off the field as well as trying to get your team ready to win a third national championship?
It's been different. I think they're all challenging. So I don't want to say that it's more challenging. It's just different, and it's been a different set of challenges. But that's why we do this, is to kind of accept the challenge, figure out what the challenge is, and then take it head on. And that's no different for us this year.
Winning back-to-back national titles, maybe how have you grown and evolved as a coach over the last couple years? Maybe some lessons you've learned going into a third time trying to do it.
Experience is valuable. Retention of staff, retention of players, understanding what our strengths and weaknesses are, and letting the coaches coach. I mean, I think you grow every year. You grow through losses, and we haven't had a lot of those. So you grow as a coach through what you do, and we'll continue to do that.
Like you said, you haven't had a lot of losses. So how do you grow and keeping them motivated and learning?
Well, you learn from others. I mean, there's not a week that goes by we don't see how somebody lost a game and we don't show it to them. So you don't have to lose to learn. You can learn from somebody else's mistakes, and we try to do a good job of doing that.
One more question, anybody? Well, no daddy ball in Mississippi, was there?
There's always daddy ball. There's always daddy ball and ball. So not enough coaches that don't have kids out there doing it. Thank you, guys.
We talked to everyone just about how their summer's been. So how was your summer? What did you do?
Summer's been good. Got to get back, see family, which kind of happens rarely for us. But it's been good. Really got to get a lot of good work in with the guys. Really excited about that. Spent a lot of time with my teammates, cookouts, things like that. So building that connection and really trying to grow the team.
For you, you've been with Stetson Bennett for the past couple years behind you. Now it's either Carson or Brock. What has it been like trying to get used to both of those, and anyone kind of stand out to you so far?
Well, I think the good thing about what Coach Smart and what Coach Monken used to do with us is they used to have us take snaps from all of the guys. So it's been a pretty smooth transition. I'm familiar with all three of them, Carson, Gunner, Brock, familiar with all of them. And I've taken snaps with them at some point, so I know some of their tendencies, how they like the ball, different things like that. So it's not as rough as you would think. But I credit that to Coach Smart and what Coach Monken have implemented in the past few years.
What is their leadership style like?
I think each guy is different. I talked to Mr. Shockley about this. Each guy is different, but they still somewhat accomplish the same thing. So I think overall, they all accomplish the end goal of getting guys on track, but they may do it in different ways. So Brock, for instance, Brock is more of a, I guess what you would say, a lead by example type of guy. So he'll show you with his play, different things like that. Carson may reel the guys in. He may say something directly, hey, let's do X, Y, Z. And, Gunner, for instance, he may be the guy to say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, I'll do this, and we'll come together like that. So I think they all do it in different ways, but ultimately it gets the same goal.
What makes you confident that regardless of who is under center, regardless who's behind you, you guys will be a good team this year?
I think the thing that gives myself the credit in those guys is, one, I see how they work. They've all spent immense time with the receivers throwing, different things like that whenever they can, trying to build those connections. But also, I think it's the fact that I've worked with them before. Like, I've taken those snaps in practice. I've seen some of the throws that all of them have made, just watching even Gunner and Brock be able to make plays with their legs. So, even Carson's from time to time. So I think that is what allows for myself to have, such confidence in whoever, the coach decide on will be fine.
You are one of the guys that they said had brought some people together, trying to get the team together, and at times it's been difficult for you guys in the offseason. Why was that important to you?
I think it was important that I spoke along with many others. I want to make that clear. I was not the only person that spoke. Along with Coach Smart and many others on the team, a lot of guys spoke out to make sure that we got a handle on the things. But I think it was important to myself for the simple fact of a part of me felt like we were kind of letting the university down a little bit. And some of the guys that played before and the people that have gone to the University of Georgia before us. So just making sure that we understood that, hey, we have a responsibility, whether you like it or not, to make sure that you're respecting that G. So
You weren't the only one in that meeting talking. Who were some of the other ones ones that stood up. And who called it together? I mean, were you the one that called it together?
To be honest with you, it kind of just happened after a team meeting, and it's so many guys that spoke. It's kind of hard to say just one person, which is why I want to kind of deflect away from myself, because I wasn't the only guy that spoke. It was so many guys. It was seniors, juniors. We even had a freshman speak. So it was a lot of guys that came together and spoke about the importance of one, owning what we've done and owning some of the mistakes that we've made, but also trying to move forward and understanding that, hey, that's in the past. Let's be better.
We're all human. How difficult has this been for you to navigate?
It's been tough for the simple fact of nobody likes to see themselves, teammates, the people you love, whomever it may be, in a negative light. But also, I think it takes a level of realism to understand that when you make a mistake, you allow people the window or the opportunity to talk negatively about you. I think that is just a matter of owning that and understanding, hey, we made a mistake and we gave people the opportunity to say negative things about us. Let's fix it.
In the skull sessions, what stood out to you about this winning rugby team, the better never rest? What kind of stood out to you during this?
Okay, so the biggest thing that stood out to me about the All Blacks had to be they had this thing where they sweep the sheds. And basically, from my understanding, when they have practice, games, whatever, no matter if you're team captain, coach, last player on the roster, whatever it may be, everybody kind of takes turns, especially the leaders, the coaches, the captains. They take turns cleaning up. So those guys are quite literally sweeping the shed, which they call the shed, but it's their locker room, of where they're playing. So they make sure that they're taking care of the locker room. It's left clean when they leave. And the thing that they talked about is when they started to lose and they started to kind of, I guess, slip per se, it was because they stopped doing that. It stopped becoming important to them. It stopped becoming an honor. It was more of a job, which is one of their mantras as well. So I think that's what stood out to me is when you start to take the little things for granted, it may cost you anything.
A lot of people said you couldn't win 2 in a row. I'm sure plenty of people will say 3 is impossible. What makes you confident that this team could accomplish something like that?
Well, I think starting off, you have to differentiate the past 2 teams from this team. We are not the same. We are not looking to three-peat. That's not the goal. I think those 2 teams in the past 2 years were amazing. They did great things, but we have not done anything yet. We have to find our voice. We have to find our leadership. We have to, some of those things are found and still working on, but you get what I'm saying. Basically, we have to go through our path. We have to walk our own journey, and we can't depend on what we've done in the past 2 years because at the end of the day, nobody's going to lay down. Every game that we're going to play this year will be competitive. Guys will come out and, be well prepared. So we have to make sure that we are doing all that we can to make sure that we're protecting the G.
Got time for 2 more questions?
You lost several guys on the O-line with Broderick and Warren, so how do you kind of build a new chemistry and a new set with the guys stepping in?
So I think the great thing about offensive line is that we play like a lot of guys. You plug and play a lot of different guys at a lot of different things. And also, we spend a lot of time outside of football, so outside of the facility, working out. We're, as cliche as it may sound, we're eating together, things like that. And we spend that time and we're really trying to, I guess, cultivate relationships with each other. And I think that's a big thing, that it's hard to make every group the same, but it's not hard to bond with guys when you've been bonding for years and times on time. So I think although they are gone and we will miss them and wish them the best in the NFL, I think that we are doing a good job at making sure that everybody's connected because we spend a lot of time outside of ball.
Obviously, there's always changes in a football team every year, whether it be coordinators, players, whatever. But what makes it so that you guys are consistently successful?
That's a great question. I think it's 2 things. I think that Coach Smart and his staff have done a tremendous job of, one, believing in what Coach Smart believes in, but also taking their own individual ideologies and all combining into one. I think that's huge. That's how you start to build consistency. It's the coaches, it's the guys that support staff, to be honest. Those guys all being on the same page and bringing things together. But also I think year in and year out, it's the players understanding that these guys are in charge. To be honest, you may not always like something, you may not always want to do something, but at the end of the day, it's all for the greater good of the university and the team. So nobody's bigger than the team, which is also one of the other mantras from the All Blacks. Nobody's bigger than the team, and you have to be humble enough to understand that there's a system in place, there's a team in place, and you have to get in line to make sure that you're helping the team in any way possible.
Thank you, Sedrick.
Thank you. Summer for the Mackey Award winner.
It was good. Just working. Got to go home twice, I guess, and yeah, it's been fun.
What did you get to do when you went home? Did you get to kind of like relax? What did you do?
Yeah, a lot of relaxing, hanging with family and friends, and also did like a little football camp from high school. So
This offense will look different, obviously, without Stetson Bennett. There will be a new quarterback back there. How are you navigating that?
yeah, I feel like it's a pretty easy transition because Carson and Brock and Gunnar have both been there for like 1, 2, and 3 years. So I mean, they've been in the system, and we've been. I've caught balls from all three of them, and they're all three really good.
Obviously, they've been there, but how do you continue to build that relationship?
I mean, I think just reps, and throughout the summer we've gotten a lot of reps in spring, and obviously fall camp's coming up. So I mean, just reps, we'll get it done.
We don't get to see practices, so what's kind of the difference between maybe Carson and Brock that we don't get to see?
That's a tough question. I mean, Carson, he's I feel like he's pretty good in the pocket. Pocket presence is really good, and he spins it really good too. And Brock's a little bit more athletic and can move around and make some plays and makes plays on his feet. So yeah.
Vocally, are they both the same during practice? I mean, do you feel like they both have a good command of the huddle? Is there any differences?
I mean, that's kind of hard to say because we haven't gotten into fall camp yet. But during spring, they were both good at kind of leading the offense and just being vocal out there.
Obviously, you had a really good year, and you want to have another good one, but how do you build upon such a good year last year?
Yeah, I think, like Kamari was saying, that better never rest, and we're just battling complacency every day. And I mean, I think just taking it day by day and attacking everything they have us do is really important.
Similar question that we asked Kamari, when it comes to the off-the-field stuff, how do you get the guys together and rally everyone and build the morale of this team?
Yeah, I think we've Coach Smart and the staff's done a good job about bringing us together and talking, and I mean, just getting us back on the right path. And I mean, I feel like we've been doing a good job with all that stuff, staying connected and just talking about things.
Have there been any meetings amongst the players, any leaders that kind of have been like pulling the players together without coach there, kind of being like, guys, we need to kind of stay focused here, or
Yeah, I mean, that's some stuff like that, yeah.
who has done that? Can you share, or
I mean, Sedrick and some of the other guys on the team have stepped up and said some stuff.
this summer?
Yeah.
When you think about the possibility of winning a third straight national championship, it's obviously the goal every year is to be at the top. You guys have done that for 2 straight years. How do you get there for a third straight year?
I'd say just staying focused on the day-to-day stuff and just attacking every single day and like just better never rest, and I got to battle complacency.
You feel like, I mean, you guys haven't been in practice yet or anything, but do you feel like this is a team that could accomplish something like that?
Yeah, I mean, we have great players and great coaches and an awesome game plan, so I feel like it's definitely a possibility every year. So just got to have the right mindset and attitude towards it and just get it done.
What's your relationship been like with Coach Bobo so far?
It's been good. It was an easy transition, just because he was in the tight end room last year a little bit, and so I think that made the transition a little bit better. And so he was around last year, and it's been good. I really like him.
How's your leadership role just increased in the tight end room this season?
It's kind of weird being the older guy now because I feel like just yesterday I came in and was a young guy. So with all those, I get everyone that left last year, and it's kind of weird to think that I'm the older guy, but I'm trying to lead by example and trying to push some of the younger guys and just get them on the right track.
When you say push them, what do you do to kind of like keep them going or motivate them or anything, since we don't get to see it?
I'd say I'm a pretty like lead by example type guy, and just try to push myself in all the stuff that we do, like the runs and the lifts and even practice pushing through stuff.
You say better never rest. Who came up? Is that Coach Smart's motto this year? Or has he been kind of drilling that in you guys? When did that start?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it started during the spring, I guess. Like we did like school sessions on the All Blacks, which is a rugby team, and they're like the winningest team in the last 100 years. So we just kind of just pulled some stuff from their mantras and stuff like that.
Do you feel like you guys do kind of have a target on your back, though? I mean, when you're coming in here, you guys are the two-time defending national champs. Everyone kind of wants to be you or better. I mean, how does that feel?
I mean, every year we're going to have, I guess, people gunning for us. They're going to give us their best, and we're going to give them our best every game. So
Where's the Mackey Award? Where'd you put it?
it's actually at my house in California. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brock, it feels like you've done everything. Is there something you want to still do in college ball?
Won another national championship.
Personally?
You said personally? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, just do everything I can to help the team win, I guess.
All right, so first of all, just how was your summer and getting ready for the season?
Summer was great. It went by really, really fast. It was a blink of an eye, and June was already over, and I blinked again, and now July is almost over as well. So, but I had a really good summer. Just enjoyed working with the guys.
What specifically were you working on this season with the guys?
Really, just working on my technique, just trying to be technically sound, because that's one thing that you have to be, really good at, especially in my position, is just being technically sound.
Does it feel any different with not having Nolan there and Jalen Carter and some of the guys who were drafted this year? And how do you hope to kind of replicate it with those guys not there?
Definitely with those guys, especially Nolan, it's a little bit quieter around the facility, but with those guys gone, a lot of guys had to step up, and we're ready for that.
How much do you enjoy the leadership role?
I really, started to, really enjoy it. I just take it as a blessing. It's an honor, not a job, to be at Georgia, and then it's even more of an honor to be considered a leader on this team.
Tell us about the outfit on softball.
I just, put a little something together, but I think I look pretty good today. So.
The K3 change, is that something specifically for this, or have you had that for a while?
This is just something that I just like to represent myself by. All my teammates call me K3, and that's just who I am.
Kamari, what's the biggest challenge of being two-time national champions? And there's obviously pressure. You guys want to win a third straight.
I think the biggest challenge for us is just battling complacency. Like Coach Smart is probably saying right now, better never rest. And we're just trying to combat complacency. Just be the best version of ourselves that we could be.
Does it feel, Coach Smart always talks about, like, this year's team hasn't won anything. Those are previous teams that have won. So do you feel like that, again, it's reset and you guys now have another championship to win solo?
I feel like every year it resets. We haven't done anything. We've done a little bit of off-season work, but we haven't played a single game or anything like that. So, we have a lot of work to do.
What are you most excited about on the defensive side of football?
Really, I'm just really excited, just to get all the guys back together on the field and just playing again. Just the rush of being able to play with the guys and all the excitement that we bring to the game is, is second to none.
Winning a third straight national championship is obviously incredibly hard. It hasn't happened since the 30s. Why can this team accomplish something like that?
I believe that this team, we have the leadership to do it. We have the players to do it. We just have to, have the right mindset and just take every day as if it's our last.
What have you kind of seen from the quarterbacks just during the practices that you've seen, whether it's Brock or Carson, so far?
I just see a group of guys that are just composed, a group of guys that never really waver, like said earlier, our defense, we talk a lot of trash, we try and get in a lot of people's heads, but, they never really waver, and that's one thing that I can really attest for them.
Okay, you said that it's a little bit quieter with Nolan gone. So who replaces that on defense?
We got a lot of different guys. Some people might say that I kind of replace it, but I don't really know. I try to bring my own energy, and but we have a lot of guys, just bring different kinds of energy to the, to the team and to the locker room.
Just not the Nolan energy.
That's just different energy.
Where does the K3 nickname come from?
So it's kind of simple. My name's Kamari. I'm number 3, but also my family, me, my mom, and my dad, our first names start with the letter K, so it kind of has a double meaning.
Could go to third championship as well, though? Third straight maybe?
I haven't even thought of that. That would be pretty cool too.
What do you expect to see from Malachi Starks? He was a true freshman last year, started off really hot and heavy at the beginning of the season. What are you guys saying to him? What are those conversations like?
Malachi is a guy where you don't really have to say too much to him. He's a self-motivated guy, kind of one of those guys, first in, last out kind of guy. He wants to work, he wants to get better, he loves the game of football. So it's not really much that you have to say to motivate Malachi.
It's kind of been a unique offseason just with how you guys won a national championship and then kind of some things going on off the field. How have you guys been able to stay focused, and maybe what's Coach Smart's message been to you guys?
Really, you know, we've just been really just trying to lean on each other, just trying to stay connected. You know, we've had some things that have gone on, but really just leaning on each other, leaning on the coaching staff, and really just on the players and everybody just trying to stay connected.
How do you navigate that as a leader? Like, how do you get those guys connected?
Just more or less just trying to, you know, keep the main thing. You know, whenever it's time for football, you know, go to work, and then whenever it's off the field, just trying to keep, you know, the guys together and keep the morale high.
Anything else from Mark? All right.
Thank you.